Welcome back. Toyota Tundra 200 about to get underway from Nashville Super Speedway here in Lebanon, Tennessee. The engines are fired on the race trucks. They're about to roll out onto the racetrack, and here's the way they will line up. Your starting grid will roll across the bottom of the screen. It is pole number 4 for Todd Bodine, and earlier it was mentioned the previous 3 poles, Todd Bodine has ended up in victory lane. He's looking to make that 4 in a row, starting up front. On his outside, a very good starting position for Stacy Compton in that number 4. We also want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers. Our first one being David Starr. Ray Dunlap, what have you got?
Well, what a year it's been for Red Horse Racing. You know, David Starr almost got that big victory at Mansfield, but Donnie Leah made the last lap pass, so we have not seen a victory from David Starr this year. But let's talk about Jamie Jones. He's crew chief on top of the box, calling all the shots for David Starr this year. But in the last couple of days, we found out that Rick Gay is now employed over here at Red Horse Racing. That brings 2 top crew chiefs into one stable. I asked Tom DeLoach, the owner of this team, what is the deal? Why did you bring somebody else on? He said, we're very, very close to getting an expanded unit here. We're hoping to have 2 teams in the very near future. Adam?
And how about Jeff Green making a start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series tonight for only the 2nd time in his racing career. He rolls off 29th. Of course, Jeff, a 2000 champion in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and he has 2 starts here at the Nashville Super Speedway, both those in the Nationwide Series. He finished 8th here in 2001. He's back in that 40 truck in 10 days when the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series goes racing at Bristol. Phil?
Adam, I want to take a look at a young driver, the 21-year-old Rob Brent from Shelby Township, Michigan. He will make his first of possibly 3 Craftsman Truck Series starts this year. If he had a little bit more sponsorship, they may expand that program. Rob's been running the ARCA Series, and the thing that's unusual about this truck, it is owned by Brad Keselowski. He was busy today up at Watkins Glen. Brad owns this truck as well as the ARCA Remax car that Rob Brent drove. Rob will start back in the 26th spot on his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. Mikey.
You know, there's a pretty good chance Brad built that darn truck. Phil, he does a little bit of everything. I want to look at Chad McCumbee. He accomplished something last weekend that I know how difficult it is to do. He got a top 20 finish in his cup start up at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Obviously hammered all day long to get a top 20 finish there at Pocono. He can win this race tonight, though, and I know that's what he's focused on.
So those are our spotlights for today. We'll keep an eye on those all night long. We're also going to ride along with a few different drivers. We have 5 different trucks that are carrying onboards. And by the way, the number 5 is carrying one of our cameras, the Toyota onboard, driven by Mike Skinner. He will start this race 3rd.
We're also going to ride along with the Zaxby's on board with John West Townley. John West ran the ARCA race earlier this afternoon, had some trouble, got into the wall, but John West had an 8th place finish at Memphis, and he starts this race back in 11th.
Well, if you'd have been riding right here the last 2 races, you'd have gone to victory lane. This is Johnny Benson. He drives the number 23 Toyota Certified Used Vehicles Toyota, and he's looking to make it 3 in a row and pad that point lead.
Another onboard, the Toyota onboard of Todd Bodine in that number 30 Lumber Liquidators vehicle. And Todd Bodine is not going to have anyone in front of him when he starts this race. He starts on the pole once again tonight.
We're also going to ride along on this Toyota onboard with Terry Cook. Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of Terry's first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win at Flemington, New Jersey, driving for Thor Sports, who got their 2nd win this year with Matt Crafton. Terry starts his Toyota from the 14th spot.
We've got a lot of great pictures that will be coming to you from Nashville before the green flag flies. Let's head back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, you know, Rick, on the setup, I got a chance to talk to Ted Musgrave, and when you look at the statistics right here at Nashville, really nobody's been any better. Musgrave's finishes at this track are incredible, 3 second places, but Ted Musgrave hasn't had a top 10 for 10 races since all the way back to Kansas City. The big question tonight is, can he get the very first win for Harris Trucking and the number 59 team? Ted Musgrave, great at Nashville. Is the team good enough to support him, and can we see Harris Trucking get their first ever victory? I think it's possible with Musgrave behind the wheel. Adam?
Truck Series point leader Johnny Benson starts 16th tonight, and in this evening's event, he's trying to join an elite group of drivers in Truck Series history. A win this evening for him would be his 3rd in a row, and check out the guys who have made it 3 consecutive wins in the Truck Series. Mike Skinner did it in 96, Hornaday in 97, Biffle and Bodine in 2002-05, and Skinner did it again 1 year ago. What do all these guys have in common? They've won Truck Series titles. Benson, the point leader, hoping to get his 3rd in a row tonight, and hoping later this year he can join those guys as Truck Series title winners as well.
Well, Johnny Benson looking to break into that championship fraternity here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Ron Hornaday, 15 points back, looking to be the first ever to be a repeat champion or back-to-back champion in this series. It all comes down to the final 11 races, and this one is the 15th of the season and the most recent. Here they come to the green flag. It is Johnny Benson trying to get to victory lane once again. He has to trail Todd Bodine to that green. Look at this early on. Mike Skinner's going to make it 3 wide going into turn 1.
Will they make it? It doesn't look like it, Bill.
Skinner goes sliding. He gets sideways, but he straightens it back out.
What a save by Skinner.
Man, he was out of shape.
Michael Annett making the move on the outside. He's able to take over third because of what Skinner had just done there.
You can see Stacy Compton hanging tough on the outside of top of that. We talked before this race started. These trucks are as loose as they're going to be all night long right now. They've got to have the back end wanting to come around in the turns because as the sun goes down and this track cools off, the truck will want to get tight and push in the turns. So now they're holding their breath, hoping that they can make a few laps. Ron Hornaday, or excuse me, Mike Skinner almost didn't.
The guys in the garage said these trucks are as loose as they can possibly drive them right now. In some cases, looser than they can drive them.
Well, don't you love Skinner's attitude? He knew all that. But he just went down into turn 1 3 wide and said, I'm going to get the lead right here.
You know, he told us before the race that he didn't think his truck was very good, maybe a good one. Well, he tried to get that 5 points early and said, I may not have a good truck, but if I can lead this first lap, I'll get me 5 points.
And that's what I love about these guys' attitude that race these trucks. I'm going to go for it, and then we'll see what the repercussions of that are. He slide. Oh, got a truck way up high in turn 2.
2 and 3 wide once again on the racetrack, and Shelby Howard looks like he gets awful close to the wall if he didn't brush it.
Yeah, we got a report that Brendan Gaughan in the 10 truck was posted black flag for passing before they got to the start-finish line on the initial start.
It was really close for Mike Skinner on that start, but he was able to get to the inside and cave it. Now we've got problems with Michael Annett in the 22. Look at this, damage to the right front. He must have hit the wall hard.
Boy, a lot of damage to that 22 truck. Michael Annett has had such a good start to his Craftsman Truck Series career. Had a runner-up finish earlier this season.
You know, we have to look at this replay. He obviously hit right front first, but did the back end come around, Phil? Did he get loose and then corrected it and went up and got into the outside wall? We'll have to see. Has all the look of a guy that was up under another truck and might have gotten loose, but
yeah, considerable amount of damage to that Brangus Beef Toyota out of the Bill Davis stables.
What a start to this young man's career he's had. Look at those results. He's been right up front every race.
Started 5th today, and obviously difficult conditions for this team. They'll see if they can get it back out onto the racetrack after they do some service on it on pit road.
See a little bit of overflow, water running out the right front there. Might have to see about taking some tape off, amongst other things. Yeah, that's the least of their concerns.
Yeah, right now you see the splitter is gone from the right, at least the right side of the nose, and around you see the left side splitter still there. So a lot of damage there. You see obviously the right front wheel's not even turning on that truck. Probably has a broken brake rotor, I would guess. So
are we talking terminal here? Can he get back on the racetrack?
He'll get back on the racetrack if they desire to, but I would think more than likely that'll be a behind the wall thing, because I would think with that right front wheel locked up, Michael, it's probably going to be a brake rotor.
Yeah, and then I would just maybe survey the damage here a little bit. It's got to go behind the wall. They got a lot of work to do to that truck. Let's see if we can tell exactly what happened, Phil. The replay, he's a little bit off in the distance. Ooh, it's already
happened. It looked like coming off of turn 4, and then as he made the contact off the wall, then went down in the infield grass. A lot of trucks making some evasive action. There's 2 of his teammates going by, the 5 of Skinner and the 23 of Johnny Benson.
Yeah, Johnny Benson right behind him when he came back out on the racetrack. So close call there for Johnny Benson. And we are underway, but under caution. We'll be right back.
I've always had an interest in the healing arts. So when my husband was injured in a wakeboarding accident and was treated by a neuromuscular therapist from Rising Spirit, I knew it was time to get involved as a massage therapist. I contacted Rising Spirit and received an extremely warm welcome and had a feeling they were the best in the field. I was right. Not only did I graduate with all the knowledge to build a successful practice, I was so impressed with the school, I became an instructor.
Tonight it's time for the granddaddy of them all, the 48th annual Knoxville Nationals. Over 100 of sprint car racing's best will put it all on the line, but can anyone stop Donnie Schatz from defending his title? Don't miss Speed's live coverage tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. Danny the Dude Lasowski will start on the pole.
$1 million right at it for purse.
Pretty near.
And just think about your night. If you're at home, you put it on speed, you watch some trucks, and then you go off to Knoxville. It doesn't get any better than that.
$150,000 to win for 30 laps.
30 laps. Let's check out this start, Rick. What do you think he's thinking?
Well,
I'm going for the lead.
Yeah.
I mean,
we know that's what he was thinking.
I'm going for the lead. Watch this now. Todd's going to bring him down. Then Stacy Compton. Skinner says, I'm going to give me a good start. I'm going to drive to the inside.
But instead of just easing in the front, he tried to go ahead and finish the deal all the way off and almost wrecked that truck.
What a great save.
There's Michael Annette going by right then into the third spot.
He was up in the top 5 when he had a crash. Let's see what happens to Shelby Howard. Remember we said he went high down in turn 2. Look how close he gets.
Got a little loose, wiggled, had to chase it up the hill, and that's what how much room it took him to gather control of that truck.
And this was the result of Michael Annette getting into the wall.
And you could see he was running 3rd or 4th up there, and the thing got away from him. I don't know if he got some help.
See a lot of trucks making evasive actions there. Ray Dunlap.
Rick, one of those was the 6 of Colin Brown. He started 4th. He said Skinner just about wiped us out. He was able to get away from that, but when he got down to turn number 3, he had no brakes. He called into crew chief Mike Beeman, says, what do I do? Mike says, pump him, pump him, pump him. And Colin just came back on. He said, the brakes have returned. I think everything's going to be okay. Guys?
That's got to be a scary thing.
Yeah, you don't want
no brakes.
Brendan Gaughan caught a brake there on that caution. He had been summoned to pit road for jumping the start. He was able to do that under caution. These guys get aggressive on those starts, don't they, Phil?
Yeah, Brendan stayed on the lead lap by virtue of being able to come down pit road.
I was right in the middle of telling that story, and I just dropped my jaw when I watched Todd Bodine and Stacy Compton and those guys race toward turn 1. It looked like they were trying to figure out how to go 3 wide again.
There, Johnny Benson makes his way by Colin Brown. He rode along with Johnny. Jack Sprague again in that camouflaged color scheme.
Yeah, Jack had a very, very good truck in practice. A lot of the talk in the garage, as we talked earlier, was what a gaggle we've got of trucks here. 2x2. Ooh, David Starr got a little bit loose. Might have caught the apron there entering the corner, got a little bit loose.
And you see there's a guy right there in front of that mess is there in the 15th truck, David Strimmy. He thinks he understands how to race these trucks. He said he might have messed up qualifying because of lack of experience. He's getting a lot of experience right now, isn't he?
How about Chad McCumbee going down the straightaway and running into the guy on his outside?
What happens, Rick, is you try to crowd over and take some arrow away from the guy you're trying to pass. When you get over next to him, it slows his truck down via the air pushing against him. So David crowded him up a little bit, maybe crowded him a little bit more. Remember, like I said, he hasn't raced trucks much. He might have not known how much truck he had over there.
This battle continues side by side. There's Johnny getting by the 21 of Kevin Wood.
Great qualifying effort for Kevin Wood. He qualified in the top 10.
Well, these trucks continue to run side by side. There's TJ Bell. Great run last time out. He's right now on the outside of that 15 truck of Strimmy. TJ finished in the 7th spot at ORP last time out.
Take a look at these guys. Side by side racing, continuing around this 1 1/3 racetrack. Again, that Strimmy in the 15.
Check this out. McCumbee goes over to get a little side draft off of Brown. It looked like Brown just decided he was going to try to do the same thing to McCumbee at the same time, and they run into each other.
And sometimes when that 8 truck pulls over, it'll pull that 6 truck towards him. So that may have been what happened with Colin Brown.
I think you would freak out if you knew how much the air moves these trucks around on the racetrack. Just by McCumbee going over to the 6 and then pulling away from him, it might have drugged the 6 over there with him.
Adam Alexander.
And the progress, as you guys talked about, from McCumbee early on has been good. 20th to 12th. And boy, is this team in need of a solid finish. 1 top 15 in the last 4 races, including Kentucky, where they finished 30th. And they were totally disappointed because they were running in the top 10 when they were involved in an accident. But they're back where they need to be tonight, an intermediate track. And that's where this team has enjoyed their success. And it appears in the early going, they are going to be a team to watch.
Well, and I think a lot of that could be the momentum from his run.
Shane C get real loose, and that's his teammate on the outside, Strimmy. There's David Starr, the 11 truck, right behind Shane Sieg in the 51.
Oh, and he goes up again. That truck is loose.
Haven't had enough.
Loose on the bottom of the track and just crowded right up into his teammate. The teammate can't get by him, though.
Oh, almost making it look 3 wide there was David Starr. He's trying to find a way around these guys.
Thought about going to the apron. We talk about these trucks running all over the racetrack. They actually use the apron on the front straightaway if they need to.
I got to give Sieg a lot of credit, or I got to question his judgment, because he's loose as he can be.
Which one? No, which one?
Credit or judgment?
Okay, I'm going to go with judgment. You don't get by with running a loose truck down on the bottom of another truck lap after lap. Either get by him or roll out and try to find you a better place to ride. It's early in the going. You don't want to put yourself in a bind like that.
Well, and I think Matt Crafton has seen all of this going on in front of him and has decided it's about time for me to get by these guys. I don't want to be a part of this mess if they're going to continue to run side by side and bumping into each other.
But they've got it semi-worked out. But I bet you Strimmy thought it could have been handled a little bit better than that. But Strimmy's new to this deal. He's got to figure it all out.
Guys on the move. Ron Hornaday's gone from 12th to 5th. Benson's gone from 16th to 7th. Chad McCumbee 20th to 12th. So a lot of guys moving toward the front. Right.
Rick, we talked in the early part of the race there about David Starr moving into the top 10 in points. He said that's a really good deal, and he feels like he's got the best pit crew in the business, and he feels like this team is really coming together. But we also found out some other news about David this week. He's going to be a daddy. His wife, Kim, just told us earlier today that she is, in fact, pregnant. They're expecting their first child.
Very exciting news for David Starr. Wasn't that long ago when I kept asking him when he was going to finally get married to Kim.
Well, so obviously you're responsible for that as well, huh?
They might want to name their child after me, or maybe not.
Right now, Todd Bodine has about a second-half lead over that Ford truck of Stacy Compton.
Looking back on his competitors, Todd Bodine has already put a second-and-a-half lead, as you mentioned, over Stacy Compton, and he continues to check out on this field. We'll be right back with more from Nashville after this. Welcome back. Toyota Tundra 200 continues. Todd Bodine continues to dominate. Now it's 3 seconds, the difference between he and second place Stacy Compton.
But you remember before the race started, we talked about how monotone Johnny Benson was.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know how my truck is. That's exactly what he said at Kentucky. He drove up to the front, and he's the fastest truck on the track right now, Phil.
Yeah, and that Ron Hornaday, that 33, is also a fast truck. So I think if they could ever get with Todd, then we would really see where the strength lies in this race.
There was a difference between first and second Stacy Compton. Adam Alexander, does Stacy Compton have anything for our leader?
Well, I don't know at this stage if he's got anything for Todd Bodine. He looks awfully good, but there is a storyline with Stacy this weekend. You remember how good Mike Skinner would qualify when Jeff Hensley was the crew chief? Well, a couple of weeks ago, Hensley came over as the director of competition at BHR Virginia, and he's on the box this weekend. Charlie Wilson, the former crew chief, when he took the job, everyone at BHR knew he had a commitment and would not be here this week. So they put Jeff Hensley in that spot. And, of course, Compton with a great qualifying run on the front row, and he looks very solid in the early going in the race, Ray.
Well, Adam, the guys are talking about Johnny Benson being very fast out there on the racetrack. It's showing up here down in the pits, too, and Trip Bruce just told him, you are the fastest truck out there. Johnny said, but I'm really, really loose in, and I'm terrible loose off right now. Trip says it's really, really fast, and Johnny said, well, I guess I'll deal with it then.
Tell you what, JB looks like he's reeling in Ron Hornaday right now.
Yeah, that's first and second points right there. Here's 8th and 9th. Good battle right here. Dennis Setzer, the Tahoe Dodge, and then the 99 of Eric Darnell, the Northern Tool and Equipment Ford out of the Roush Fenway stable.
Both of those Dodges of Bobby Hamilton Racing really strong.
In the top 10 right now.
That's good to see. Stacy Compton run along in second spot, and Dennis in 8th. We haven't seen that type of speed out of these trucks until just recently. Recently, they've been qualifying up front and running up front, so whatever they're doing over there, it's working.
Yeah, Stacy qualified in the front row, was actually the fastest truck in happy hour yesterday evening.
Again, only one caution has taken place today. It was on lap number 4. It was Mike Lynette who got into the wall. They've taken that truck behind the wall and gone to work on that race truck. And now you see Eric Darnell trying to make the pass on Dennis Setzer.
You saw that 18 truck that just moved from the center of the corner out, just kept moving up the racetrack. That opened up the bottom for Eric. He was able to get his truck turned, get underneath Dennis, and make the pass.
And you can see the veteran move. Dennis knew that he slipped up the hill a little bit. He had another truck. Eric was on the inside of him. He didn't contest that spot. He said, you got me. I'm just going to roll off the gas, and we'll follow each other for a while. We still have over 100 laps to go. There's a lot of time to sort this out.
How about TJ Bell making the pass on Chad McCumbee there? Now David Starr is going to pass as well.
You know, we mentioned TJ got his best career finish at ORP a couple of weeks ago, and I'm telling you, nothing breeds success like confidence. And then he had it. I talked to him in the garage area, and he was so excited. We had a good battle for Johnny Benson right there for fourth with Ron Hornaday. First and second points. Johnny takes it.
Taking away the position from Ron Hornaday. Again, this is lap 30. We would expect around 60, 65 laps as far as the fuel run.
The first run maybe closer to 55 laps because, again, they've qualified and with they burnt the fuel out qualifying plus the pace laps in the warm-up. So probably more like 50 to 55 on that first go-round.
A little over halfway through a fuel run then at Nashville Superspeedway, and it's 4.2 seconds. Todd Bodine in front of Stacy Compton. We'll be right back with more on Speed.
The Age Management and Aesthetics Institute will use the most advanced procedures to achieve amazing results. Introducing Pure Lipo, the outpatient alternative to traditional liposuction. This is permanent fat removal done safely in our office with minimal recovery time and maximum results. Call now to schedule your free Pure Lipo consultation. The Age Management and Aesthetics Institute offers complete aesthetic services and much more. Visit our newest center on Johns Creek Parkway and rejuvenate yourself.
NASCAR's chase is right around the corner, and only one pre-race show prepares you for the twists and turns of Watkins Glen. Tomorrow, join John Roberts, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, and Winnie Benarini for NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Live coverage begins tomorrow morning, 11 Eastern. In the Real Deal interview, former NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series winner Steve Park, and now our second caution has flown here at Nashville Superspeedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
This is a pretty opportune time to have a caution for these guys. Everybody will come to pit road now.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're over halfway to that first pit stop. See Kim Lopez waving the caution flag. We're hearing debris on the racetrack is what's bringing this caution out. But Todd, unfortunately, is going to lose that huge lead he had.
He's saying hey to Otis. You see that there?
Well, he did check out on the field, but bringing this caution out will bring the field back together and probably bring everyone on pit road. Actually, before this group gets on there, we're going to go down to Adam Alexander, who's with Michael Annett.
Yeah, and an incredible start to Michael Annett's Truck Series career. Unfortunately, all for not here tonight. What happened on track, Michael?
You know, we're just really not sure yet. The truck was, it was running like it was in practice, just really fast, and all of a sudden, it just snapped loose on me. So we're really not sure what happened, but it's just a shame. We had a lot of people here from Brangus Beef and Pilot Shovel Centers, and these guys work so hard during the week at the shop. They just, they deserve good finishes. I just feel bad to send them home with a tore-up race truck.
And so the guys continue to work, but as Michael said, it is heavily damaged, especially here on the right front.
We found another replay here. We're going to get it from the flag stand, actually. Watch up top of your screen. You're going to see that 22 truck come off the corner.
Watch him dart to the low side and then boom, out to the outside, just like we thought. He got loose off the corner. Now, whether he had a problem with that truck like he was alluding to, or it just got loose, he definitely. The back end came around first, and then the front end into the outside.
It may have been a situation where he wasn't expecting that truck to be that loose, and that's why he's a little bit unsure as to what happened. But that's essentially what it looked like, is he got a little bit loose.
So again, our second caution of the day has come out. This one for debris on lap 37, and so we're expecting to see the entire field make their way onto pit road. And hopefully Adam Alexander will jog back over there, as he was in the garage with Michael Annett working on that truck, and Adam Alexander, I believe, has made it back to pit road. Adam?
Indeed the case, and the first guy to hit pit road, Stacy Compton. He's got pit stall number 1 at pit entrance, and this is a big pit stop for these guys because he's running second, and you don't want to lose positions on the pit lane. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Stacy Compton, and no major changes. The truck was good in the early going. This pit stop at lap 38. To Ray.
Jack Sprague really didn't want to pit, but you're halfway through a fuel run, so you have no option. They're going to do 4 tires here, and there is no adjustments for Jack Sprague. He's pretty happy with his truck. He comes in second position. At the front of the field for Todd Bodine, they're going to raise the track bar 2 rounds. He was very tight in the middle of the corner. The Onion says, let's make that adjustment. Like we came in first, let's go out first. They're getting ready to go. It's going to be a tight battle off of pit road with Sprague, and it looks like the first truck off will be the 30.
Todd Bodine does win that battle off pit road. Jack Sprague moves up a spot into second. Skinner gains 3. Eric Darnell gains 3.
What a stop for Compton, though. Lost 7 spots on pit road. Shelby Howard will receive the Aaron's Lucky Dog and get a lap back. Todd Bodine has been setting a blistering pace, and he won the race off of pit road as well. Tonight, the granddaddy of them all for Sprint Cup or Sprint Car Racing, the 48th Annual Knoxville Nationals. Over 100 of sprint car racing's best put it all on the line. Donnie Schatz, defending title winner. Danny the Dude Lasowski starts on the pole. Over $900,000 to win that race. It is going to be very exciting come down to the final laps.
What an event that is, though, with all the heat races building up to it and the last chance races, and it's incredible. Over 100 cars there to run that race, and 150 grand to win. I can't get over that.
50,000 for a 30-lapper.
30-lapper. Yeah. And a half-mile dirt.
Everett, you know, that makes it be a big deal, but winning the Knoxville Nationals is a big deal.
Huge.
It doesn't matter what it pays. Those guys show up. That's their Daytona 500, and man, I can't wait to watch it on speed.
Green flag back in the air here at Nashville Super Speedway.
Todd Bodine has a new cat running behind him right now. Jack Sprague, by virtue of his pit stop, was able to move up to the second spot. See, Hornaday jumped to the outside of Eric Darnell, trying to take over the fourth spot.
Eric had a pretty good corner, but he just can't match that momentum. There's another pass. I wonder if we could make a tally of the passes Hornaday makes on a restart. That's a restart. There's Hornaday passing somebody.
He's looking at that 5 of Mike Skinner right now to try to take over the third spot.
Great pit stop by Skinner's crowd, getting him out up in the front. We saw Skinner start in the front and almost spin out on lap 1, but yet he's back up in the top 5.
Stacy Compton working the high side of the racetrack, trying to get around that 6 of Colin Brown. Looks like he's going to be able to do it. There's Rick Crawford, the 14, right behind the 6. Ray, what's going on with Colin Brown's team?
Well, I just wanted to add on some great pit stops like Michael was talking about. The 6, the Conway Ford, really had a good spit, and the caution is out for the 21. Wanted to also give props to the 7 truck. Both those teams having great pit stops down here. We'll check on the yellow here for you.
Well, that's John West Townley in the 09. We see the 60 also having some issues. That's Terry Cook. We heard potentially the 21 was involved with this.
Yeah, the 21 was definitely involved. There's a damage to the Air Force Ford of Kevin Wood.
Great qualifying effort for Kevin Wood. Had been consistently running about 12th or 13th, so had a solid race going, but somehow wound up in a 3 or 4 truck wreck down in turn 4.
Yeah, John West started up in the 18th position. He's also involved. There's Terry Cook. I didn't see any damage to that Weiler.com Toyota. A lot of damage to that Air Force Ford of Kevin Wood, and a 09 Zaxby's Ford goes behind the wall for John West Townley.
That's a tough day for that kid.
A couple of crashes for him today.
Yeah, sure has been.
He was in the ARCA Remax Series race earlier today on speed, and now takes that truck into the garage. Take a look at this. Kevin Wood sliding sideways back up into the wall.
And then the 09 came along and ran into the back of Terry Cook.
And it looked like it ran into the back of Terry Cook hard enough to where there is some damage on that truck. You saw what happened to the front of the 09, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be something on the...
Yeah, already you see the truck stopped in the back.
The 51 ran into the back of the 9 of Justin Marks as well. So John West right here.
Oh, the 60 got loose underneath of Kevin Wood and ran into Kevin Wood. That had his momentum all slowed down, and here come John West Townley and run into the back of the 60. You know, every now and then, Phil, you're going to have a crash, and when you talk about it, it was unavoidable. And that was almost unavoidable for John West Townley. He came into that corner, and a lot of things happened in a hurry, and he was turning as hard as he could and stopping as hard as he could.
You have to realize... People have to realize he's already in the corner absolutely as hard as he can get in there.
Yeah,
he could not drive in the corner any harder, or he would be doing that. And then all of a sudden something happens in front of him. You just can't woe these things down.
We're paying that kid to get in the corner as hard as we can get him in there. And when everything goes normally, that's fine. But in this case, there was an accident ahead of him. He dove in as hard as he could, and boom, right into the back of Terry Cook.
So they're working on Shane Sieg's number 51. Looks like he's got some problems on the front end of that truck. And the reason why we're under caution number 3 is this. John West Townley avoids the 88, but can't avoid the 60. And so our third caution of the day has come out here at Nashville. Welcome back. Beautiful sunset here at Lebanon, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. You see Terry Cook on pit road. He was involved in the most recent incident that took place as we take another look.
Contact's already made right there. The 21 of Kevin Wood gets in the wall pretty hard. But there was a reason that Kevin was up there. Watch, this is Terry Cook's onboard. Watch the 15 of David Stremme. He's going to make a move to the inside going in 3. He gives David a lot of room there, Mikey.
And there was a guy on the right of him. That's Kevin Wood. And when Kevin got to the end of the straightaway, he had to turn somehow. Oh, check that out. John was telling just down in the corner as hard as he could get in there. Nowhere to go.
So a difficult situation. Green flag back in the air.
Somebody making a move on the outside, getting by a couple trucks.
Yeah, I thought we'd see if Hornaday could put another notch in his gun belt, but he didn't. He had to follow Skinner down into turn one. Skinner's got a good truck. He looks like he's got something for him tonight, too.
And he really talked about his truck not being very good. So obviously they made some changes. Dave Fuge is here with that team on a consulting basis right now. So
maybe he learned that. Maybe he learned from Johnny. That's the way you need to talk. My truck isn't that good.
I tell you what, the guy who has a very good truck is Stacy Compton, because he had some difficulties coming off of pit road, and he's already worked his way back up into the top 5.
Well, and that's going to fire that team up, Phil. They're going to say, we got to get Stacy off pit road. We got a truck we can win this race with. We can't be losing 7 spots on pit road. The team is seeing what Stacy's doing on the track, and that's going to make them make a better pit stop next time.
And Stacy's had some success at this racetrack in the Nationwide Series. He's got, I think, 3 top 10 finishes in the Nationwide Series here at this racetrack. So he does have some experience, even though this is his first Truck Series start here.
Battle for second. Jack Sprague on the outside. Mike Skinner making the move on the inside.
Sprague will run down in the corner with him, make Skinner pinch that truck off, and he's unable to get around him. Ray, what's going on?
They added air pressure in the right front. Skinner telling Joe Lax that's what he felt like he needed to get off of the corners. He's fine in, but just not getting off the corners they want. So they put about 1.5 pounds in the right front on that Toyota Tundra. Adam?
And Rick Crawford riding 7th right now, just got around Colin Brown for that position on track, and they feel very good about where they're at. And the reason is they had a tire going down when they came in for that pit stop at lap 38. The word from the crew, the caution saved us. And not only has he gone around Colin Brown, he's gotten around Eric Darnell as well. Crawford on the move, and very fortunate to be going to the front at this stage.
Yeah, close call there for that team if they had a tire going down just before they came onto pit road. How about Johnny Benson trying to make the move on TJ Bell?
And Johnny drives to the inside there. Now he's going to, you see Johnny didn't drive up there and get side by side with TJ through the center of the corner. He got his nose up in there, made TJ move up the hill a little bit, and then used the exit of the corner to drive up beside him.
You know, when you get the front end of your truck, Phil, into the corner ahead of the guy on your outside, you have a better chance of not getting aero out of whack. When you go down in the corner with your front end not quite up beside the guy you're outside of, then you really got some issues. And you saw Johnny avoid that. He eased into the corner, and then on the way off the corner drove up beside the guy.
I think the worst possible scenario is we see Ted Musgrave drive to the inside of Johnny Benson, bring David Strimmy with him, is when you're completely side by side. Look at Donnie Leah down on the apron. We told you you could use that apron down there.
Looked like Johnny had the worst situation in the world there in turn 4 a second ago. The thing got sideways. Must have not worked out aero-wise when they dove into 4.
It looked like Ted Musgrave got right up on the back bumper of Johnny Benson, maybe got him a little bit loose, and so Benson had to check up.
Watch this now. This is Johnny Benson and TJ Bell coming off the corner. Maybe just a slight bit of contact right there, but this was before. Watch, here comes Ted Musgrave. This is behind him. There's Matt Crafton looking to the inside of Ted Musgrave. This was the lap before we saw Musgrave pass by Johnny.
And that all led up to Johnny getting sideways or something, because he lost a lot of momentum. He was racing up in the 11th spots, back to 13th now.
So Johnny dropping a lot of spots there, trying to stay on pace. And Michael, you had mentioned earlier, Johnny Benson was running some of the fastest laps of anyone on the racetrack.
Yeah, he was really fast, and ever since his pit stop, it hasn't been the same.
Ray Dunlap.
Johnny on the radio, guys, right now saying this truck is absolutely horrible. He said to his crew chief, Trip Bruce, it feels like the front sway bar is not even in the truck. He says, whatever you did on air pressure on that last pit stop, go absolutely 100 degrees the other way. He said, not happy with this truck at all. He said he just can't even drive it. Adam?
And for Matt Crafton, 3rd in points entering tonight. He started back in the 23rd position, was only able to get to 19th on that first run. The truck very loose into the corner, made an air pressure adjustment, restarted outside the top 15, and he is rallying, currently dogging Johnny Benson for a spot in the top 12. And this has been what we've seen out of Crafton, race in and race out. Doesn't qualify great, but when the lights go on, this guy puts it together, and he's doing it again, trying to go around the point leader.
You know, that's fun. When I was talking to Matt Crafton, Rick, right before the race, and said, how are you? He said, we're not any good at all, as good as they've been this season. He said, every time we come to Nashville, we push. But it looks like Bud and the guys have made some changes. He's got a pretty decent truck right now. He's making a move, got by Johnny Benson.
Right. And that's the guy he's chasing in points. Matt Crafton currently third in the point standings. He's 31 points behind Johnny Benson. But he's got Ron Hornaday in front of him, and obviously Hornaday is just 15 points behind Johnny Benson when they started this race.
Yeah, that's 4th, 5th, and 6th right there with Ron Hornaday, Rick Crawford, and David Starr.
Starting to string out a little bit here is the field at Nashville, and we've seen this before. Well, a guy will really connect for a while, and then the handling will go away on his truck, and everybody will reel him back in.
You saw Terry Cook. He was involved in that super speedway crash, put John West Townley and Kevin Wood on the bench. He's lost a lap because of trying to make repairs to that truck, but he's able to keep a pretty good pace, run along here behind Todd Bodine and just ahead of Jack Sprague. So while the other guys' nights are over, he's still got a chance to battle along here, catching Aaron's lucky dog, and wind up with a decent finish.
As you mentioned, he's not running that far off what Todd is right now. We see Ted Musgrave in a battle for 10th right there on the 7 truck of T.J. Bell. Ted's going to try to take that spot and does on the bottom.
It's been fun to watch T.J. Bell get used to this truck, and he's running very competitively week in and week out. This is a battle for the 5th and 6th spot.
Rick Crawford held the 5th spot. Now David Starr has taken it away. And so David Starr moves into the top 5. They're still chasing Todd Bodine. He's got a 2.5 seconds over Jack Sprague. When you come to Music City, USA, the prize that everyone is chasing is that Gibson guitar. Who will be in victory lane at the end of this race? Flat left front tire on the front of that 59 Team ASC.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, he had some difficulties, and we are under caution.
This was an incredible save by Ted Musgrave. Watch this now. This is exiting turn number 4. You see him get loose. He chases it up the hill. I don't even think he might have made contact with the wall, but the biggest thing is now watch him continue to steer that thing and locks the brakes, gets in the gas and locks the brakes up at the opportune time to try to keep the thing out of the outside wall.
And if you're at home and you're saying, well, that's not a save. Oh, yes, it is. Right here, he's thinking outside wall hard. And he just stays on the gas, continues to steer the truck, and winds up exactly where he hoped he would, down in the grass.
Just give me a little bit of grass.
Give me in the grass, and let me get over here and get some more tires. That is a save. We talked about Terry Cook a minute ago, running well, getting a lucky dog. Aaron's is going to pass it along to him right now. Aaron's lucky dog for nothing.
So Aaron's lucky dog goes to Terry Cook. He's back on the lead lap now.
We didn't even have to check his credit, Rick.
No, he was able to get that lucky dog, and we think he's got good credit. 27 on the lead lap here at Nashville Super Speedway. We'll be back.
Are you using a pawn shop to borrow against your jewelry? If you are, then you're making a mistake that could cost you hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Chase JPL is one of the nation's premier buyers and lenders on fine jewelry, and we typically loan 2 to 3 times more than a pawnbroker. This is because we know the value of diamonds, gold, and fine watches. Our rates are up to 70, even 80% less than the average pawnbroker, which means a huge savings to you. So the next time you need money in a hurry, bring your fine jewelry to a name people have trusted for 27 years. Chase JPL. We can help.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. By Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's, nobody. And by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning.
You know, I can't tell you how many times during the week I use a battery-powered drill and driver combo from Craftsman. Now, this is an old one that I got about 4 years ago. Still works great. However, the brand new one's even better. Now, this one I like because it has this side extra handle. You can put it on here for a righty or move it over as a lefty, and it really helps give you stability when drilling. On the top and on the back, there's a level and plumb bob, so that lets you know you're always drilling great and straight, whether it's up or down. Now, you can change the torque by just moving this nozzle back and forth, and you can go from high to low speed with the flip of a switch. But there's one new great feature. Go from regular drill to screwdriver to hammerhead combo just in the flip of that switch. And when you're drilling through a pressure-treated 4x4, the hammer drill comes in awfully handy. Makes it pretty easy, doesn't it? But here's another great feature. the lithium-ion battery. Press the button, it gives you the green light. That means you're good to go. I want to give you a quick update, guys, on the number 23, Johnny Benson, our point leader. He came in on this last caution, lap 66. They took a rubber out of the right rear. Now, that'll help tighten his truck up a little bit, and they put a quarter of a rubber in the left rear. That'll also help tighten him up. He was very, very loose, not happy with the truck. They readjusted the air pressure, and Trip Bruce called sort of a team meeting, got everybody together to talk about their strategy of who does what during pit stops. This one was under yellow, but they know later we might have one under green.
And the reason we were showing you that footage, that tire came out of their pit box and almost across the pit road. And so when they lost that wheel, I believe they're making them start at the end of the longest line, but they were going to be there anyway. Being on pit road and doing the work that they did to that truck.
We have a battle for the lead. Jack Sprague going for the lead on top 09. Todd's going to fight back on the outside.
Ooh, that's
Can he
tough.
hold on? Yeah, we got a lot of loose trucks that have been in that situation, and Jack Sprague had to hang back.
That was a tough move to try to, you know, he thought it was all looking good when he dove into 3, but Todd was just able to hang on the outside of him enough to make that truck very loose when they exited turn 4, and Todd drove off with the lead.
How about David Starr battling Skinner for third right now?
David Starr looking at the inside of Mike Skinner. Now he's got to tuck in behind him. Nobody has been out front except Todd Bodine tonight. And we're on lap 70 of this race. Todd Bodine has been dominant up front.
Jack Sprague might say, I was up front for a little bit. I beat him into turn 3. He just beat me back to the start-finish line.
I led for 50 or 60 yards.
They continue to go side by side, back behind. There are 27 trucks on the lead lap. The only one scored a lap down, at least, is David Stremmy's 2 laps down.
Even though David Stremme is not 1 lap down, he is the highest scored non-lead lap truck right now. If the caution flag were to come out, David would get one of those 2 laps back.
Bump drafting at Nashville, I didn't know that we did that, but Crafton decided he would.
That's a risky move to make right there. You can upset a truck in a hurry. Not only cause the truck you hit a problem, but you as well.
Matt Crafton got into the back of that 99, bumped him up, and he was able to put a pretty good run together, trying to get by the 14, and now Crawford has still been able to hold on to that position.
That's a battle for the 6th spot on back right there. Rick 6th, Eric Darnell 7th, trying to get 6th from Rick.
Man, I've raced here before, Phil, and if your truck is tight at all, it just seems like coming off that 4th turn is one of the hardest things to do ever. You get in the gas so early down in the middle of the corner, and you just put so much steering into the front of your truck, and it just won't turn. You know, if you're tight, it just gets worse and worse as you exit the corner, and that's what happens a lot of times in these battles. You can see TJ Bell up under the 99. He can't complete that pass on entry because he's loose, and he can't complete it on exit because he gets tight.
Adam Alexander, what's going on with Stacy Compton all the way back there in 14th?
Well, the reason they've dropped back to 14th, Rick, is because they came down pit road at lap 65, took on right side tires, and made a chassis adjustment to help what has been a tight truck throughout the evening. Now, he did have an issue, and we have caution on the racetrack. Jason White goes around and hard into the wall.
Jason White got spun around. They were 4 wide.
4 wide is not going to work. I don't care how you try to pull it off. And Jason got a good run on the outside, but he needed someone to give him that corner. And these guys don't give much around here.
See the damage on that 7 truck of TJ Bell. This accident really started back in turn number 4. TJ got real loose there. That really balled the trucks up, and then that's what allowed Jason to get a run going on the outside, and then TJ in the 7 and Jason in the 08 made some contact entering the corner.
Jason White came across the start-finish line running about 13th, and he had visions of going into turn 1 running inside the top 10.
Looks like he's got something broke with the front end of that truck, because right now the left front is pointing to the left, and he's trying to drive off.
Oh yeah, he had a super speedway crash. You know, they're running over 170 miles an hour when they head down to turn 1.
Mikey looks back. Let's see how this started. Remember, here's the 7 on the inside of the 99. He's going to get loose. Watch there. He's got to chase it up the hill. Now that seizes up these guys. Colin Brown backed off a little bit. Jason gets a great run on the outside. Watch now. 4 wide. Jason just runs out of room. TJ makes some contact with him. He had to go somewhere. That was a situation where discretion would have been a better part of valor.
Like I said, he needed the 7 truck of TJ Bell to give him that corner. And you're just not going to get guys to give you much. And there was just no way. And plus, they started wrecking before they even got to the corner. So they knew they were in trouble. They knew something was going to have to give in order to make it, and they just didn't make it.
I think the 6th of Colin Brown might have got a piece of that when that truck turned sideways. So we'll have to see if he comes down pit road. Right now, all the leaders are coming down pit road.
Adam Alexander.
Pit stop number 2 for Rick Crawford, who is currently in the 6th position, comes at the halfway point, lap 75. He said, I am still too tight, so they have called for a chassis adjustment. He will get 4 tires and fuel, and they will have to come down one more time. To Ray Dunlap.
See, Jack Sprague was in the middle of your screen there. They're going to pit, no doubt about it. Todd Bodine says, I don't know what we should do here. Do we go for tires or not? Mike Hillman Jr. said, absolutely. We're putting tires on here, and they're going to go back just a little bit down on the track bar. Remember, they put the track bar up on the first pit stop. Adam?
And Matt Crafton gained some big-time track position, right side tires only on the 88. Not the first time we've seen that tonight, and we'll see how it pays off for the man who entered 3rd in Truck Series points.
And we were watching there. Jack Sprague, just fuel. That's why he won the race off of pit road.
Several trucks stayed on the racetrack, though. I've counted 5 trucks that stayed on the racetrack, so they will restart this race up in the top 5 positions.
And Johnny Benson still isn't happy with his truck because he came back to pit road. They were back on pit road from service. That would have been a great time to stay out and gain some track position if you felt like your truck was good enough to maintain that track position. Johnny obviously did not feel like he could.
So the fans on hand have seen now the 5th caution come out at the racetrack. This time it was 4 wide trying to get into turn number 1. It just doesn't work. And it's the 7 and the 08 that end up with the worst damage. The 08 in the garage. Welcome back. It's time to play Aaron's Lucky Guess Trivia. There are 2 drivers that have won at Nashville Superspeedway in the Truck Series and the Nationwide Series. Who are they? We're not going to give you the answer right now. We want you to think about it for a while.
I'm not going to give anybody the answer right now either.
Because he doesn't have it.
You'll think about it as we get the green flag once again. Kim Lopez throwing that in the air. And it is Stacy Compton in front of the field now.
A little bit of pit strategy here. We talked about the grip that this place has and the fact that guys could have some pit strategy to mix the running order up. Now we see for the first time all night, Todd Bodine stuck back in traffic. Stacy Compton finally got the nose of that Dodge out in front.
Top 5 trucks stayed out on the racetrack that time. Jack Sprague, who restarted 6th, did fuel only. He's already moved up to the 5th spot, got by the 60 of Terry Cook.
Remember Terry Cook involved in an incident earlier tonight.
He got an Aaron's Lucky Dog.
Was able to get back on the lead lap.
Now he's right back in the thick of these things. You know, we talked about Strimmy. He was 2 down. Now he's the only truck 1 down. He got an Aaron's Lucky Dog on that last caution. He's looking for the next one, maybe get back in contention with his truck.
We're here. NASCAR has thrown a warning to the 30 saying you can't lay back on the restart. And so Todd Bodine will have to watch himself next time they have a restart so that it doesn't look as though he's laying back.
Well, what you try to do as a driver is give yourself a little bit of a gap on the guy right in front of you so that you can anticipate the start, and if it works, you've got more momentum than him. You can swing to the outside, especially on a track with a curved front straightaway. You got plenty of room to get on the outside of them. NASCAR frowns upon that. We're supposed to all be tight together as we come down for the restart so that you can't swipe something from your fellow competitors.
But you always try to fudge as much as you can. I mean, every driver out there would like to, as we see Matt Crafton try to move to the inside of Todd. There's Ron Hornaday stuck behind the 88 of Crafton.
And Todd's been trying his best to get on the outside of Johnny.
It's amazing what clean air will do for a truck, and conversely, what dirty air does.
Yeah, and Todd's probably feeling, my truck's pushing now for the first time all night.
Why is that? What did you do on the pit stop?
I know y'all changed my truck.
Clean air obviously good for Stacy Compton and the 8 of Chad McCumbee. At one point we saw those 4 trucks running together. One of those was Ron Hornaday. Another one was the 23 of Johnny Benson and the 88 of Matt Crafton. Our top 3 in points are all running very close together on the racetrack.
And they're all on a little bit of a different agenda, as is most of our top 10 trucks, doing some different strategy on pit road, trying to get that track position, trying to get up front where you can get some fresh air down on the noses of those trucks. You know, Phil, we talk about a guy running in seconds in dirty air. Well, he's got 1 truck ahead of him. By the time you get back to 7th or 8th, the air's all messed up. You've got 5 or 6 guys in front of you. It gets worse as you go back.
And I think that's what Todd Bodine is fighting right now. He was able to get by the 23 at Johnny Benson. Now Matt Crafton is going to do the same. Matt will move up to the 8th spot, push Johnny back to the 9th spot.
Johnny's got a long night's work if he wants to go get that 3rd straight win. He doesn't have the truck, it doesn't appear right now, Phil. Bruce and those guys have to make some good adjustments to it to get him a chance to win this race.
And he's only going to get about one more chance.
One more stab at it. All your pitting will be over, especially with what we're seeing right now. These 2 trucks out front are able to pull away from the pack somewhat because they've got that fresh air, but their tires are old. So everybody, all these crew chiefs on pit road are saying, okay, old tires will work if we're able to get our truck out front.
Ray Dunlap, what's the word on Todd Bodine?
Well, just what Michael said. Old tires will be okay later in the race. They just pitted on lap 75, put on their last set of tires, and Mike Hillman Jr. said, we can't make it the rest of the way. We'll have to get some fuel, but at the end of this race, we won't need to get tires, so we should be able to get first off pit road. They're trying to encourage Todd to let him know that Sprague and some of those guys ahead of him did not get tires on that last pit stop. So strategy in place for the 30. Adam?
And sometimes things just work out for you, and for Ted Musgrave, that's the case tonight. He had that spin about 20 laps to go, the amazing save. He had to come down pit road because he flat spotted his tires. In fact, he made successive pit stops on back-to-back laps at 64 and 65. The good news is the caution comes out 10 laps later. He stays out, and here he is riding 3rd at a racetrack where he has never finished outside the top 10. Confidence is an amazing thing, and a little luck never hurts either, guys.
You know, we talked about the top 5 staying on. Well, they had only run 10 laps from the last round of pit stops, so it's not, you know, we talk about these trucks being able to go around 60 laps, so that was not a bad strategy at all.
Well, but just think about Goodyear. You know, here's Jack Sprague. He's going to go 75 laps and just put a little gas in. That's their only goal. That tells you what kind of tire these guys have to race on. Goodyear takes a lot of heat for what happened at Indy. But when you build race tires week in and week out, and they're as reliable and durable as these things generally are, I think maybe they ought to get a letter every now and then saying thank you for the support, because what a show we're going to see tonight because of all the differing strategies that can go on that might get you to victory lane.
You know, to me, it's kind of like umpiring and stick and ball sports. When you don't talk about the umpires, that's a success. If we have this race here and we don't talk about the tires, then that's probably a success.
And the only talk you'll hear about it is whether we want them or not. It's an option. It's not a must.
Matt Crafton right on the back bumper of that 60. Terry Cook, again, Terry Cook involved in an incident earlier today.
Somebody hit him and knocked their whole front end off. And here he is racing up inside the top 10.
Still on the lead lap. Dennis Setzer on the outside of this Toyota Tundra. That's
battle for 5th. Todd Bodine takes the 5th spot.
Getting by that 18 of Dennis Setzer.
Yeah, Todd has proved, even though he got back here with his pit strategy, he is able to pass. He's one of the trucks that seems to be able to pass right now. Chad McCumbee restarted this race right behind Stacy Compton. Has not been able to do anything with Stacy Compton. Ted Musgrave restarted 3rd. That's where he remains. Jack Sprague has been able to move up to the 4th spot from his restart position of 6th.
And so your top 3 remains the same. Right now, it's Stacy Compton holding off Chad McCumbee. And it looks like Ted Musgrave is beginning to close the gap now between 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack. So Stacy Compton using some non-pitting strategy to get in front of this field.
But look at McCumbee. He's got a little bit better truck, Phil. You can tell he's able to keep that nose just to the left of Stacy Compton, keeping a little bit of fresh air on it, making a better turn than Stacy. I think you give him another lap or so, he's going to take the lead away from Compton. Look how low that truck is in the front, right down on the bottom, but Compton makes a good corner there.
I'm sure he's been notified that the 30 truck of Todd Bodine is coming. So if you're going to go, now is the time to do it.
You can see these trucks running almost the same times, running about within a couple of hundredths of a mile an hour of each other. That's why they're together, I reckon.
Chad
That's why the gap
McCumbee,
stays the same.
the 23-year-old out of Supply, North Carolina, has never won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's been in the right place a few times, but it just hasn't worked out. We'll be back with more NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed.
Some people think that cable theft is a cable problem, but the picture is much bigger than that. Cable has become a multi-communications pipeline, carrying not only hundreds of television channels, but high-speed internet and telephone as well. But this vital flow of data can be seriously compromised or even interrupted when someone tries to steal cable with an illegal hookup. That's a problem for everyone.
Report cable theft anonymously at 1-888-77-THEFT.
Welcome back. We want to give you the answer to the Aaron's Lucky Guess trivia. If you haven't figured it out yet, who are the two drivers that have won at Nashville Super Speedway in both the Truck Series and the Nationwide Series? The answers: Carl Edwards and Scott Riggs. Carl Edwards got his win at this racetrack in 2003, and it was Scott Riggs winning in 2001. The initial race here at the...
Check out this battle for the lead. These guys can't.
They're not going to give up, that's for sure.
They can't work away from one another. McCumbie's right on Stacy's bumper one corner, and then Stacy's making a good corner the next and getting away a little bit. And the whole time, Chad Musgrave is slipping right in on him.
You know, normally when we see a truck right on the back bumper of another truck, it means that that one's not going as quick as the rest of the field. But this group has pulled away from the rest of the field.
Johnny Benson able to get back by that 88 of Matt Crafton to move back up to the 6th spot. Johnny finds himself about 5 seconds behind our leader, Stacy Compton, right now.
Looking back from Johnny Benson's onboard, out in front of the field, it's still Stacy Compton. Welcome again to Nashville Super Speedway. I'm Rick Allen alongside Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip. Down on pit road, we've got Ray Dunlap and Adam Alexander giving us all the insight. It has been Todd Bodine that was the dominant truck early on in this race, but Stacy Compton decided to stay out on the racetrack in the most recent caution, and so that is how he has become our leader as we close in on the 100th lap of this race.
And that's the only two leaders we have had in this race. Todd Bodine, as you mentioned, dominated the early portion of the race till he made a pit stop. Had 5 trucks stay out of the racetrack, and 3 of those trucks right now are still running 1, 2, 3.
You know, we talked before the race that the victory, the win could come down to pit strategy.
Right.
We're certainly seeing the leaders right now benefiting from some good strategy on pit road. How that will play out over the next 50 laps will be very interesting to see. Some of these guys are going to have to come get some gas if the caution don't fly before some of the others.
One of the trucks that looked very strong at the beginning of this race was Johnny Benson. What's the word on him now, Ray?
Well, as I told you earlier, he really hated his truck, and I don't think it's gotten much better. He just told Trip Bruce that it's unpredictable, but when you look up on the scoring pylon, Benson's in 6th, and he just went around the 88, so making his way towards the front, but the driver very, very unhappy. He thinks they've got something wrong with the chassis here tonight at Nashville. Adam?
And I would say at this stage of the race, Ray, the guy right behind him, Matt Crafton, you mentioned Benson went around him a couple of laps ago, is as good right now as he's been all evening long. Currently riding 7th after starting 23rd. That thanks to some pit strategy that Michael Waltrip talked about a minute ago. They took right side tires only at lap 75. We'll see how they handle things on their final stop of the night. They're just under halfway through this fuel run.
You know, Ray talked a little bit about the truck being wrong. I think there's a song that says something about, if this is wrong, I don't want to be right. And I think Johnny Benson's in a position, if it's wrong and he's running 6th right now, moving up.
When Johnny Benson was talking about Johnny Benson, when Ray was talking about Johnny Benson not liking his truck, he was 1.5 tenths faster than anybody else on the racetrack.
And right now, if you look at it, you can see Jeff Green. Jeff came to pit road just a couple of laps ago, had a flat left front tire, set him back 2 laps. He and David Strimmy are the only 2 guys on the track that are off the lead lap. We currently have 25 trucks on the lead lap. The anomaly that's going on is in the top 6 or 7, the first 2 are the slowest of them, seemingly lap after lap. Their times just aren't quite as good as the guys running 5th and 6th. So this battle for the lead that's been fun to watch is going to get even more fun.
Right now, Shane Sieg looking to go a lap down from our race leader.
He wasn't really looking to go a lap down.
Didn't want to, but he did.
That could be bad news for David Strimmy, depending on when the caution flag comes out.
Yeah, Strimmy was in position to get that Aaron's Lucky Dog, and now it's Shane Sieg's if the caution flag flies. But more importantly to the leaders, when is that? What's going to happen with this caution flag? We got to get some gas here before long.
We know those 5 trucks that stayed out will have to come in probably around 10 laps before the other guys do, and that could really wreak havoc if the caution flag were to come out in that 10-lap interim.
And Phil, that could be around lap 125. They came in on lap 65, so we talked about the pit window being about 60 laps for them. So we're still looking at about 20 laps from now before they will have to come onto pit road.
But as a race car driver, you're thinking the whole time, how much space do they have on me, and when do I got to pit?
And so it's Stacy Compton in his Dodge running out front here at Nashville Super Speedway. We'll be back for more racing right after this. Welcome back. Nashville Super Speedway, the site of race 15 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's Stacy Compton that's in front of the field now. He's led 35 of 109 laps. The other driver that's been out front has been Todd Bodine. Chad McCumbee holding on to second now as the little gap between 1 and 2 has grown.
That's the biggest gap we've seen since the restart.
But check this out, Rick. Just a couple of laps ago, 9 of the top 10 guys ran in the 31-20 some second bracket. That's a 1/10 of a second that covered 9 of the 10 guys. And the guy that didn't run in the 31-20s, he ran a 31-19. All 10 trucks in the front were running the same speed.
Absolutely amazing. Chad McCumbee again running second. Ted Musgrave has reeled him in, is on the back bumper of that truck. And Ted Musgrave, what an amazing record he has here at Nashville. He's got an average finish of 3.4 in 7 races.
Well, 20 laps ago, he was looking like we were going to have to figure out how to tow him off.
Yeah.
And now here he is racing for the top, in the top 5.
Running third, and Matt Crafton had his hands full just moments ago as he currently runs in the 7th spot. Take a look at this.
It's coming off turn of big time loose there. A little bit of a wiggle. David Starr is going to take advantage. Drive by Matt Crafton to take over the 7th spot, and then Matt came back around him to take it back.
And then here comes Johnny Benson. We saw Johnny have some issues on pit road with a tire getting away, some adjustments on that truck. He doesn't like it. He thinks it's broken. Well, he's driven up to the 6th spot, and consistently he's been just a tick, just a little bit faster than the rest of the top guys in front of him.
Todd Bodine just in front of him for now, but take a look. Here comes Johnny Benson moving to the inside.
Todd got real loose there. You heard him get out of the throttle when Johnny drove up underneath him.
You know, it seems like Todd Bodine has had his hands full in that same location. Oh, and a caution has come out. What a perfect situation for the guys up front.
Yeah, they've used their pit strategy to garner track position, but we heard some of the guys aren't planning on getting tires now. What does Stacy Compton, Chad McCumbee, and Musgrave do? Are they going to get tires? If they do, they lose that track position.
How about right side only? You're still going to lose track position to guys who get fuel, but do you need that fresh rubber at least?
It doesn't.
It hasn't seemed to help. But now remember, they've got about 10 more laps on their tires than most of the guys. But Jack Sprague, who's running 4th right now, did fuel only as well. So he's on the same tire strategy as the top 3 trucks right now.
And then you look back to Todd Bodine and Johnny Benson. They got a little bit fresher tires. Be interesting to see what these guys do. This is what the crew chiefs get paid the big bucks for.
I think I want the track position.
I think I do too.
I mean, obviously those trucks have been just as fast as the trucks with fresh tires. I want the track position right now.
Well, we saw Chad McCumbee and Ted Musgrave and some of these guys when they didn't have track position. They couldn't go anywhere. Now they're in the front. Nobody can catch them.
This is our 6th caution. It's for debris. Take a look at this. Under caution, well, Todd Bodine comes up and looks like he bumps the 10 of Brendan Gaughan.
Wonder why he did that. Maybe the yellow wasn't out yet. They still look like they're going pretty fast. Oh, no, the
yellow lights there. But just at that very moment is when Todd may have realized that the caution flag were out. Brendan will be our Aaron's lucky dog in that Max Force Ford.
If he has any
stables.
concern at all of what's wrong with Todd, he's really going to be happy to get this Aaron's lucky dog. He's going to drive out of there.
Here they come down pit road.
What will they do?
The last time Stacy Compton came down pit road, lap 65. He got right side tires only on that stop. Crew chief Jeff Hensley said this time go left side tires and fuel. No adjustments for the truck that was tight. Middle of your screen, Chad McCumbee is in. Last time he came down pit road, lap 65. He got 4 tires then. He'll get 4 here with air pressure to help a tight race truck. Ray Dunlap.
Sorry about that. Ray having some issues with his pack down on pit road.
Ron Hornaday right there, the truck first off pit road. Eric Darnell, Todd Bodine. There comes Johnny Benson, David Starr, side by side between Musgrave and Colin Brown. There's Skinner. But Ron Hornaday, Eric Darnell pick up 8 and 10 spots respectively. Got to be fuel only.
Definitely fuel only.
Guys who lose the big spots are the ones who stayed on the racetrack earlier. Musgrave only lost 3. We see our Aaron's lucky dog, as you mentioned, going to Brendan Gaughan in that number 10, so he gets a free pass to take a lap back. Stacy Compton lost 7 spots. Chad McCumbee lost even more. He came off of pit road a little bit later. The action is just heating up. We're under 35 laps to go from Music City, USA. Right after this race, it's time for the granddaddy of them all, the 48th annual Knoxville Nationals. Can anyone stop Donnie Schatz from defending his title? Well, Danny the Dude Lasowski will be on the pole, and he looks to stay up front for that 30-lap feature. It's a big one, $150,000 going to the winner.
Don't forget, we've got Steve Kinzer, who's won that thing about 915 times. And
he starts in row 2.
I can't wait. That's a big night.
An amazing race. You do not want to miss it again. It will follow us here on Speed.
30 laps, 150 grand. Now, you said that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Actually, I said that.
Earlier. Green flag back in the air. We've got 32 laps now to go as they cross the start-finish line.
Now here's his pit strategy. We're going to see what Ron Hornaday can do, what Eric Darnell can do. We know Todd Bodine got 2 right side tires.
Here comes Eric Darnell on the bottom. Hornaday loose off 2.
How about Darnell making the move on the restart king? Darnell tries to take the lead away from Ron Hornaday.
If Ron fights back on the outside, not able to hold off Eric, Eric's going to get that lead.
Wow, that was a power move down to the inside on Ron Hornaday off turn 2 and got the lead going into 3, but was able to keep it off 4. We haven't seen that done tonight.
Now, Todd Bodine has right side tires. Let's see how that strategy works out for him. Bodine running 3rd right now behind Darnell and Hornaday. Those 2 just got gas on pit road.
Well, they got to feel real good about that, Rick. They just watched Stacy Compton just be able to hold off of pocket trucks on those used tires. So Hornaday's got to feel good about where he's at right now, he and Darnell. Look at Johnny up on the inside of Todd Bodine. Todd's wiggling off turn 4.
Yeah, Johnny's got a better truck right now than Todd Bodine does. Battling at the start-finish line for 3rd.
Johnny Benson making the move on Todd Bodine. Can he make the pass stick? Bodine races him back on the outside of the racetrack. And moving up as well, that 59 of Ted Musgrave. You almost expect to see the 59 in the top 5 at this racetrack.
He was able to get around the lap truck there of David Strimmy and join this 2-truck battle. Todd Bodine on the outside, Johnny Benson down low, and here comes Ted looking below Johnny.
While these guys are racing side by side, the top 2 trucks, Eric Darnell, Ron Hornaday just driving away.
Now you can see Musgrave is pushing Johnny Benson along. That'll help his draft down the straightaway. Todd Bodine just dives down in the corner and runs up the hill and is able to hold that third spot, excuse me.
3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're all right here. You can throw a blanket over them all. Johnny Benson, we heard at the beginning of this race, he doesn't move people out of the way. He's got to pass them without touching them. That's what was passed down to him from his father. He said any driver can move another one out of the way to pass him.
But he's in a bad spot right here. He's got a truck on the outside, a truck right behind him. If he doesn't hit him,
he had to chase it up the racetrack.
I was going to say, if he doesn't hit him, it's going to be tough.
How about Musgrave working to the inside of Johnny?
Oh, caution coming out with 28 laps to go. Willie Allen with problems.
Big crash. Johnny Benson was glad to see that caution because he's able to stabilize that mess he was in. But
problems also with the 71.
Donnie Leah. So the 19 of Rob Brent also driving away. Didn't know if he had any damage or not.
That's a hard crash there, Phil.
Yeah, the next time we see that truck, it will be with Jimmy Johnson driving it at Bristol in about a week and a half.
A couple of Wednesdays from now.
That's right.
That's right. It more than likely
probably won't be that
truck.
Particular truck.
It won't be that truck, but there's a chance that at Bristol it'll wind up looking like that again. Those guys.
Well, I'm guessing Jimmy Johnson's saying, I hope it doesn't.
Those guys get with it over there at Bristol.
Yeah, that's a great race. Again, a Wednesday night race here on Speed. Let's take a look at what took place, at least the remnants of this 81. Already happened there. He was into the wall. He backs down in front of a few different trucks. Donnie Leah may have just been checking up there.
Yeah, the 19 also of Rob Brent drove down to the inside to try to avoid Willie Allen.
No damage to the 71. The only truck that looks like it's got any damage is that one.
And it's got enough for 2 or 3 trucks.
David Stremme in the number 15 gets the Aaron's lucky dog, so he will be back on the lead lap now. He was a couple laps down, but because of Aaron's, he is now on the lead lap and battling for the win here at Nashville. Monday, check out another all-new 101 cars you must drive with Alonzo Bowden. From Edsel Ford to Dino Ferrari, having a car named after you is a tribute. But does the Edsel stand up to its family legacy? 101 cars you must drive Monday night, 9 Eastern, only on Speed.
Did you say Dino Ferrari?
I did.
I wonder if that's right. I don't remember a Dino Ferrari.
Well, we're going to go with it because Alonzo Bowden said that's the way you say it.
Let's see if we can make some contact with our leader, Eric Darnell. Hey, Eric Darnell. Phil Parsons in the speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Phil.
That was a great move on that 33 truck of Ron Hornaday. You guys did a little fuel only on that last pit stop. Tires feel pretty good?
Yeah, Sun 4 tires been holding up pretty good all night, Phil. Our Northern Tool Equipment Ford's been really fast. It's clean air is the name of the game, and we got our fuel in there and got out front. Hopefully we can keep it here till the end. I know I got some tough guys behind us, but our Ford's really fast tonight.
What about that cat right behind you? You know how good he is on the restarts. What do you got planned for him?
Man, you don't got to tell me that coming down to the green. I know Ron's been good. Ron's always going to restart, but I think being out front is going to be the key here, and hopefully be able to get away from a little bit and check out again.
All right, buddy, finish it off.
Inside.
You just heard inside. Ray Dunlap, what have you got on?
Well, let's talk about Ron Hornaday a little bit. He pitted last on lap 75, and they put on 4 tires there. Then when they came in this last time, a fuel only, just like Darnell's situation. But, guys, remember, when Darnell pitted back then on 77, he restarted 25th way in the back and had to come back to the front. I think it'll be interesting to see if those guys with no tires can hold off Todd Bodine and the group right behind him who took rights.
That 40 moving up to the inside. Jeff Green 3 laps down to the field. Randy Kaiser will pull to the left onto pit road. It's actually his wife's birthday today, so happy birthday to her. We know she's watching. Here they come to the green flag. It is the 99 of Eric Darnell just in front of the restart master, Ron Hornaday. Does he got anything for him on the restart?
Well, Hornaday's all over me.
Oh, he's going to get into the back of him. He doesn't turn around. Eric Darnell saves it. Now to the outside goes Hornaday.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Eric Darnell is going to be a little bit upset with Ron Hornaday for getting into him like that.
Well, either that or he just says, I got to get out of here. This guy's crazy. I got to get away from him. It looked like Eric spun his tires. He got a good initial start, but then he lost his momentum, and Ron got to him, and Ron was just trying to figure out which way to go. Eric was going to block him for all he was worth, and they got together, and we're lucky we didn't see a crash.
I think Eric Darnell was very fortunate that the 40 of Jeff Green was down there on the bottom, because that held off Ron Hornaday from jumping to the inside right away.
Something didn't go right with that restart with Eric Darnell, and he needs to put that in his memory bank and make sure he does something different next time, because when he first launched, he got him a gap, but then he lost it.
Maybe the 2-3 shift when he shifted from second to third.
Started second. I mean, you're
typically
starting
second. Sometimes first gear, depending on the racetrack and what kind of transmission you have in first gear.
So maybe going from second to third either missed it a bit or broke the wheels loose. Oh, look at this. 2 and 3 wide as they go across the start-finish line.
We've seen this try to work before, and we didn't have much luck. Again, 3 wide right down in the corner here at Nashville.
Ooh, Timothy Peters, the 17 truck on the inside, just about made some contact with that 11 of David Starr.
Looked like he was almost getting ready to chase it up the racetrack, but David Starr was on his outside. Now it's 3 wide. Terry Cook and, well, now T.J. Bell on the outside of that 3 wide.
I've been watching T.J. Bell since that earlier incident with Jason White, and he's still pretty racy, running some pretty competitive lap times and racing with some good trucks.
20 laps of racing to go here at Nashville Super Speedway. It's the 99 of Eric Darnell. Still in front, but very close. Take a look at the right here on the restart.
Yeah, this is that restart right now.
Right there, it just seemed like Eric didn't have the momentum that you thought he would have, and I guess obviously Ron thought he would have, but as soon as they got to turn 1, he was gone.
How about left of our screen here while we're watching this replay on the right? Top 09 drives down underneath Hornaday to take over second and brings Johnny Benson with him.
So on the right, that was the sight that he saw at the restart. Now Topadine has made his way up into second. David Starr, a close call there with Ted Musgrave on the right.
We can't keep up with all this stuff.
They're happening everywhere right now.
And
2 and 3 wide.
And they consistently insist on going 3 wide. Look, another run down down to turn 3. Yep. Brian Scott up on the outside trying to go 3 wide down into turn 3.
There's Terry Cook on the bottom. That's the Weiler.com Toyota.
Oh, into the wall goes Crawford. He hits the wall hard. Let's see how long he can stay on the racetrack. There's extensive damage to the right side of that 14.
Yeah, right front and right rear for Rick Crawford. A lot of damage. There's Strimmy, the 15 truck. Remember, now he's back on the lead lap after getting 2 lucky dogs.
Very unfortunate for Rick Crawford, hitting the wall very hard.
Now how does he hit the wall like that and is able just to run right along there? Oh, there he goes.
He's slowing down now. Yeah, he's got a lot of damage. Watch.
Oh, he had a truck on the outside of him. Didn't know it was there. Crowded Brian Scott up and turned Rick into the wall.
Remember, we saw Brian Scott make it 3 wide going in turn 3. There's another look right there. You see Rick's going to move up the racetrack a little bit. Didn't quite have Brian cleared. He made contact and turned Rick into the outside wall.
Adam Alexander.
And Rick didn't say anything on the radio for the longest time. Then he came back and said, I've got a flat right front. And as you can see right now, he's trapped in the outside lane. It could be a challenge for him to get down there and come to pit road. But I would anticipate we'll see the 14 coming down for a green flag stop very shortly.
If he's got a flat right front tire, he's the best race car driver I've ever seen.
No, he just has a fender that's smashed, his toes knocked off, and it feels like it's flat.
Unbelievable. We've got to slip away. I know there's only 16 laps to go. We're only away for 60 seconds. We'll be back for the checkered flag from Nashville. Remember what happened here not so long ago? A flashback. It was the 30 and the 5 battling on the racetrack. Skinner was in front. Well, Todd Bodine wanted that position, took it away. Skinner said, no, not so fast. Got back into the back of the 30. Well, those two continued to race until they took themselves out of contention. The 23 went right by to take the win. Could we have the same thing building tonight? Out in front of the field, Eric Darnell, and here comes Todd Bodine running second.
And check out the way these guys closed on our leader, Eric Darnell. Phil, but just like earlier when we saw Chad McCumbee all over the back of Stacy Compton, once Todd got there, he hasn't been able to do anything with the 99 truck.
And Musgrave in third behind Chad McCumbee couldn't do anything with him. Right now, it looks like Johnny has an awfully good truck. He drove a little bit lower than Todd through that last corner, time down to 1 and 2. Couldn't do anything with Todd.
And remember, Johnny Benson's trying to put his name in the history books, winning 3 in a row in this series. It's only been done a few times, a handful of times before. Johnny Benson wants to add his name to that list.
Top of Dine's high off turn 2. Can Johnny make a run on the inside of him?
Yeah, same situation as the last time. It looked like Todd tried to stay with Eric Darnell through the center of the corner, could not keep the front end down.
Now Todd's up the hill, Johnny down low. Looks like Johnny's got to run on the inside of Todd. Oh, can't quite get there.
Turn it a little harder. Almost makes contact with the 30. They're side by side now as they go into turn number 1 for second.
And we haven't seen anybody pull this off lately down on the inside, and Johnny Benson will be another guy that can drive up beside you going in the corner but can't clear you coming off.
Eric Darnell's looking in the mirror and say, please race side by side some more guys.
We've only got 10 to go. Eric Darnell's loving what he's seeing in his mirror, but he knows it's not going to last. He knows one of these two will sort it out, and they're going to be right back on him.
You remember that race at Michigan with Eric Darnell and Johnny Benson?
Those two do.
An inch and a half was the
dead heat. Virtual dead heat between the 23 and the 99 when they went across the start-finish line. How about that? Johnny Benson now in front of Todd Bodine, chasing down the 99 of Eric Darnell.
Now, these two are faster than Eric Darnell. You watch Johnny Benson close on that 99 truck over the next lap or so. Johnny deep down in turn 3. You can see the truck a little bit out of shape as he drove down into 3, but he keeps it low and drives right back up toward 99.
Johnny Benson spoke specifically of that Michigan final when he said, you know what, maybe sometimes I do need to bump a guy or I need to be a little bit rougher on the racetrack. He's in the same situation now, chasing the 99 of Eric Darnell. We talked about winning 3 in a row. Those were the names of the drivers that have done it in the years they did it in.
Johnny was 2.5 tenths of a second faster that time than Eric Darnell. There's Jack Sprague passing his teammate for the 4th spot, and now he's going to slide up the hill, and Ron's going to fight back on the inside.
Ron said, I let you have that spot. Why'd you mess up when you got down in the corner? Ron doesn't let anybody have anything. It looked like he said, okay, teammate, you're better than me. I'm going to give you a break. But then the teammate hit the apron, shot him up in the center of the corner, and Ron said, I got to take it back.
7 laps to go. Ray Dunlap, what's going on with that 30?
Well, hey, tradition is on the line tonight for Jermaine Racing and Todd Bodine. Think about it, guys. This is his 4th pole, and every time Todd Bodine has had a pole, he's gone on to win. He did it at Atlanta, Texas, and Talladega. Tonight, Todd Bodine started on the pole. Tradition might just get broken tonight here at Nashville.
Yeah, it's still a lot of work for Johnny Benson to do to beat Eric Darnell, and Todd Bodine needs to be sitting there watching, licking his chops, saying, go get him, Johnny.
Yeah.
You said you was going to start being a little bit more aggressive. I want it to start tonight.
We got 6 laps to go, and these laps cannot run down fast enough for Eric Darnell.
Eric Darnell in front of the field now. It was Todd Bodine's night at the start of this race. Nobody could get by him. He was dominant. Then it was handed off to Stacy Compton when Stacy stayed on the racetrack and everybody else was on pit road. And now it's Eric Darnell trying to hold off the 23 of Johnny Benson.
5 laps to go.
Now watch as the exit turn 2 here. As a race car driver, if you can make your left front corner stay lower than the guy you're racing, you think it's just a matter of time till you can get that corner down in that fresh air and execute a pass. So Johnny Benson is trying his hardest to keep his truck tucked over to the left on Eric Darnell. Can he do it here? Watch him as he exits 2. He keeps that left front down.
Trying to hit the pedal a little bit though, Mikey.
And you saw Eric Darnell with a little bit of a wobble as well.
That's because these guys have got their tongues hanging out. They're giving it everything they got.
4 laps to go. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Phil, don't forget, tonight could be a magical night for Roush Fenway Racing. They have 49 career wins in this series, going for a record, number 50 if Darnell's able to hold off Benson.
Roush Fenway has 6 wins on concrete, including 2 here with Edwards and a year ago with Travis Quapple.
Here he goes, down to the inside.
Ooh, not.
Oh, makes a little contact.
He is down on the inside now.
Side by side as they cross the finish line. That was the way it went across at Michigan on the final lap. Now Johnny Benson has taken away the spot from Eric Darnell.
See if Eric can fight back. Now he's going to fight the same thing that Johnny was fighting. Get that arrow push when you're behind.
Johnny dove down into turn 1 and looked over to his right, and Eric wasn't there. He said, hallelujah. I didn't know I'd be able to pull that off that easily. He worked him, and he dove in 1, and he passed him.
And now he's pulling away from Eric Darnell. 2 laps to go from the 1 1/3 Nashville Superspeedway.
I tell you, Trip Bruce and his guys have made a lot of great adjustments on that truck. They haven't had that many times, that many opportunities to adjust on it. There's a battle for 4th again between teammates.
But they took extra time, Phil. They decided that truck wasn't good enough, and they came to pit road off sequence with these other guys and said, you guys have got to work on my truck. We got to change it 100 degrees if we're going to win this race.
Here comes your leader. 1 to go. The white flag in the air for Johnny Benson. The Olympics just getting underway this weekend. Johnny Benson looking for Olympic gold in Nashville.
And the way you win gold in stock car racing is you put the pedal to the metal. That's what Johnny Benson has done.
Johnny Benson down the backstretch, increasing his lead over the 99 of Eric Darnell. It has been an impressive performance by this entire Bill Davis Racing team on the number 23 of Johnny Benson. That certified Toyota used cars truck making his way to victory lane tonight, crossing the start-finish line 3 in a row for Benson.
Great run for Eric Darnell in 2nd. Great pit strategy. Fuel only on the last stop. Todd Bodine ends up in 3rd, and Sprague and Hornaday teammates finish 4th and 5th.
And Stacy Compton just battled in the top 10, even led, but had a solid truck all night. What a great run for that team. I'm glad to see Jeff Hensley on that box, and those guys, those are Virginia cats, and they worked it out together, had a fast truck, and it's good to see them get a great result.
Ray Dunlap, I believe you've got a victorious crew chief with you.
Yeah, he's getting high fives from everybody. Trip, I've never seen a truck be so bad and so unpredictable and terrible, like the driver said, and go to victory lane. How'd you guys do it?
Maybe it wasn't so bad. It's a brand new truck, and it's been a little finicky. So, you know, like I said, I don't think it was that bad. It was always close, but back in traffic it was a little bit worse. But he's a guitar hero. I really couldn't explain it right now. I know what you're looking at. I felt bad for a while there, but, you know, the right combination of air pressure and no chassis adjustments. It just didn't seem to like them all weekend.
4 out of 5 wins. Did you ever think that's possible?
Probably not. That's incredible. And Toyota, certified used vehicles, you're awesome. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Go celebrate. Trip Bruce, another victory. Johnny Benson 3 in a row. Trip Bruce making the calls to get him there.
Johnny Benson can start his own band now. Try that again. Two guitars now for Johnny Benson. Won it a year ago at this racetrack.
When I think of truck racing, I think of Skinner, Sprague, Hornaday, and Johnny Benson is now beginning. He's creeping on that list too, because this is an amazing run this team is on right now, and the job that he does communicating to that crew what he needs out of that truck and them delivering it, that's a great combination.
Looking to add to his championships as well. Johnny Benson's won them in the nationwide series, and now looking very good in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Win number 13 of his career here at Nashville.
Design Resource. Just minutes off of I-85 on Highway 53.
Welcome back under the lights here at Nashville. They'll be under the lights at Knoxville as well. The Knoxville Nationals following us at the top of the hour here on Speed. Again, a great 30-lap battle. The main event, $150,000 goes to the winner. Over $900,000 is the purse. Ray Dunlap.
Here comes Johnny Benson out. Only one driver in this field tonight had a victory here at Nashville Super Speedway. Now that same guy has two. And the custom Les Paul Gibson guitar comes in here. Sam Bass designed this thing, and now you got a second one for the trophy. But I'll tell you what, Johnny, when I talked to you before this race started, you didn't think it was very possible. How did it happen?
I didn't think it was all that possible at 10 to go, to tell you the truth. Jim Bruce and the guys all the time do a great job. It just was real inconsistent. It was a new truck, but I couldn't ever get a handle on it. And Tripp made a couple adjustments and kept telling me it was horrible until after about 30 laps on the tires. Then I got to where I felt like I could do what I wanted. So I had him counting the laps down. I knew Darnell was going to be tough. I had a really hard time passing the 30. He was running pretty strong too, and I thought he had a shot at him. But the minute I saw he kept sliding around, I was able to get by him, work on Darnell, and was able to get in victory lane. So really got to thank Toyota Certified Used Vehicles, Exide Batteries, Valvoline Bosch's, everybody involved. Triad, awesome bodies on these things. Engine builders, John Dysinger. Who else am I thinking? Mintex brake pads, awesome, because I used them bad today. I used them up bad, so.
I asked Tripp, though, at the top of the box, I said, could you ever imagine having won 4 of the last 5 races? If you take Memphis out of that deal, you guys are blowing them away.
Well, we're having a good year. The last couple of years has been really good. I mean, I've been proud of what the team's been able to do the last couple of years for sure. And this year just seems like we're on a roll, you know. I mean, I was really surprised with the stats we were talking about, that I was the only driver that's a previous winner here at the track. So to have another one of these is cool. My youngest daughter, Michaela, she's been last 3 wins. She's rubbed on the truck before, and I was like, get over there and please do it to this truck, because it's not that great. So thanks to her, that worked out great.
It must have worked. Let's see you play a little jam here. You got a tune for us?
Play a little jam, you know that. I can just do this.
All right, one of the greatest trophies in sports, no doubt about it. Johnny Benson gets his second guitar tonight here at Nashville.
And I think Eric Darnell was probably playing a few tunes in his truck late in the race, but you were unable to hold off Johnny Benson. What was the difference there on that pass with 3 laps to go?
We just didn't have the best truck at the end of the race. Matt Puch and all the guys did a great job with this Northern Tool and Equipment Ford tonight. We really struggled in practice yesterday, and they made a lot of the right adjustments on the thing to get it good tonight. But clean air was everything. Track position was everything. You could have a real fast truck but be caught in the middle of the pack and not be able to do anything with it. We had the flat tire with 75 to go, and really had to fight to get track position, so we didn't take any tires at the end, and that put us up there. But congratulations to Johnny Benson and the guys. They've been on a roll lately. He was just a little bit better than we were at the end.
Now, you finished second, but you could have easily finished much deeper than that if it weren't for that amazing save on that restart late. Take us through what happened when Hornaday was behind you.
Was that amazing? I know we had the lap truck on the inside of us, and I didn't quite know if I was clear of him or not yet. And Ron was coming with a little bit of a run, and I jumped down to the inside about the same time he did, and he got into the back of us. But I think he backed off just a little bit, let me save it, and we're able to continue on and ended up with a second place finish.
7th top 5 of the year for Eric Darnell.
Well, Eric Darnell with an impressive run today coming in. He was 7th in the point standings. It's going to help him a bit. He was able to get by a few guys that were in front of him, but Johnny Benson now with a bigger lead over Ron Hornaday as we move into the final 10 races of the season.
Yeah, it's really hard to gain much ground when the guy leading the points wins the race.
Yeah.
So,
and it's so tight, though. One slip, and we can watch a guy fall from first down to fifth or sixth. So
it happened to Johnny a few races ago. Remember, he was leading and came out fourth and then worked his way back to the lead. Now he's going to extend that a little bit. He came in with a 15-point lead.
But may I remind you, we're going to Bristol, where anything can happen. Jimmy
Anything
Johnson's
can
truck
happen.
is in question right now. Will it look like that again?
Another concrete racetrack, Bristol, the next stop for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The momentum on Johnny Benson's side. We'll be back with more from Nashville.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on Speed by Toyota. For the latest on Toyota's drivers and racing information, visit toyota.com/pitpass. Toyota, moving forward. Brought to you in part by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by new Touch of Gray that lets you keep some gray hair. Touch of Gray for the generation that swore it would never get old.
And another great race here from Nashville Super Speedway. It was Johnny Benson finding victory lane. Eric Darnell finishes third. One of the dominant trucks on the day had to be Todd Bodine. He's standing by with Adam Alexander.
Yeah, we talked in the pre-race tonight about Todd Bodine and his record from the pole. Unable to get another win tonight starting out front, but you do get a top 5 and a nice bounce back for your team that's had some problems lately, Todd.
Yeah, it's a great way to come back. We've been working hard on the Speedway program to get ourselves back where we used to be, and we're getting better. Right there at the end, just didn't have anything for him. Truck was too tight. You know, this is so much about positioning now, and the guy out front's got such good air that it's hard to keep up. You know, these things get so aerotight. But we had a good run. Lumber Liquidators Tundra ran good. We ran strong in the beginning and needed that same truck at the end. But I got to say hi to Bob and Steve and Rick. Wish you guys were here. And Ashlyn, I love you.
It's kind of that old racing adage for you guys lately, not finishing where you should. How important was a top 5 tonight to get the momentum back?
It was very important. You know, we've crashed the last 3 weeks, and it's been miserable. We went from 3rd in points to 6th in points, and it's just been miserable. So to come back and run this strong and have a shot to win, that's what we needed to do. And the guys had great pit stops as usual. And, you know, this Germain race team, it's good. You know, we just got to get our act together.
Todd Bodine, 3rd tonight at Music City.
Well, let's hear from Colin Brown. He started 4th, finished 6th, but boy, right at the very beginning, that race got exciting for you.
Well, it did. You know, I thought starting 4th we were going to be in good shape there, and I don't know what happened in front, but Mike Skinner looked like he was about to wreck, so I just got out of the whole situation and lost a lot of spots, but we kept on digging, and it was a good night for the whole number 6 Conway Freight 450 crew. My guys did a heck of a job on pit road. You know, we came in, I don't know, 13th or 14th there, went back out in 6th on the first stop, and they had stops like that all night, so it was pretty awesome for those guys on pit road, and had some brake problems. I don't know what was going on. With brake pedal go to the floor almost every time, but battled through that and came back with a top 10, so we're happy.
And some real good news out of your camp here this last week, the fact that Conway has announced they will be back and you'll be driving the truck again next year.
Well, I'm real excited to be back in this Conway Freight truck. You know, that's a great sponsor to have. It's great to have their 20,000 plus employees behind us, and that guarantees me at least 20,000 fans, so no matter what I do, I got some fans.
All right, have a good night. Colin Brown starts 4th, finishes 6th tonight here at Nashville, guys.
Big night for Colin Brown. Let's take a look at how Johnny Benson and his Toyota certified used vehicles Tundra had a winning touch in today's race.
He worked to the inside of Eric Darnell, finally able to make the move off turn number 4 and beats him down turn number 1, and that was the pass for the win.
Had to feel good to make that big sweep down into turn 1 and know that you'd cleared that guy. We saw it so difficult all night long to pass at all. And Johnny grabbed the win right there with that move.
Pretty impressive night for Johnny Benson, working that team, trying to get the truck right. Another guy who seemed to come into this race with a very good racetrack was Jack Sprague. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, and Jack Sprague finally able to celebrate the fruits of his labor. You guys have worked really hard and not really been rewarded. Finally a top 5 tonight. How's it feel, Jack?
Well, it feels great, and like I say all along, the trucks are fast. We have fast trucks, but it seems like something always happens. But I just want to thank Camping World, Chevrolet, American Commercial Lines, RVs.com, Georgia Boots, all our sponsors. I mean, it's been a up and down type season so far, but we're always fast, and that's you can build on that. And when we get it all click together, we're going to win a lot of races. And I just want to thank everybody at KHI for building us great trucks, and Kevin and Delana for having faith in me and this team. This is a good race team. We just got to get all synced in order and all be going in the same direction. We're very, very close, and we had a shot at it tonight. That's all you can ask for. I had a great truck last night. I had a great truck tonight. Just had to pass a little too many trucks there at the end. I wish I'd had like 15 or 20 more laps, but we didn't. So just proud of the guys. They work hard. Ernie works hard. Everybody, like I said, at KHI and Mark Smith Pro Motors. I don't get to talk much, so I'm going to ramble on here a little bit, but I just want to thank everybody. And I knew that if things would quit happening, that we'd have great runs, and we very, very easily could have won this race tonight. Had a shot at it, like I said, and that's all we can ask for. And it's just circumstances that we didn't have it, weren't there at the end. But we still had a great run, great top 5, and just want to thank everybody that supports us.
A well-deserved 4th top 5 of the year for driver 2, Jack Sprague.
Let's take a look at our unofficial results for this, the Toyota Tundra 200. Johnny Benson, another win. That's 4 on the season for him. Eric Darnell, an impressive performance, coming home in 2nd.
Hey, big surprise. Ted Musgrave gets a top 10 here.
Is that every time?
Never finished outside of the top 10 in the 8 starts he's had at this racetrack.
I bet he's never been more in doubt about whether that was going to happen than he was tonight when he was faced with the outside concrete wall.
Terry Cook battling back from an early issue, and he finishes in the 12th spot.
You see Mike Skinner back in 17th. That breaks a string of 10 consecutive top 10 finishes for Mike Skinner coming in here.
Rick Crawford hangs on for 23rd after hitting the wall very hard coming out of turn 4.
See, a bunch of guys were victims of crashes in the race. Michael Annette was crashed on lap 2 or 3, so set a trend early for some of our guys.
Difficult nights. Those sticking around here at Nashville, obviously Music City, USA, we've got a concert going on. It's Justin Moore that is entertaining the fans now. It was Johnny Benson that did the entertaining earlier. Now he's got his own Gibson guitar. You could probably jump in here and jam with the boys. There it was, handed to him. One of the most prestigious awards in all of racing. The guitar is handed to Johnny. Take a look at our Toyota points through 15 events of the 2008 season. Johnny Benson now with just an insurmountable lead over Ron Hornaday, 45 points.
That's the difference between winning and finishing 5th. So.
Okay, so maybe not so insurmountable.
Yeah, that's no difference at all. And you see Matt Crafton still hangs in there, 91 points out.
Now Todd and Skinner and those guys, they got a little work to do if they want to get back in this championship battle, especially if you consider the role that 23 team's on.
Even though he finished 2nd, Eric Darnell still 240 points behind our leader, Johnny Benson. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, earlier tonight we saw that Olivia, Stacy Compton's daughter, brought you Fuzzy, the good luck charm. Apparently it worked out, a 7th place finish, good run, and nice momentum for the 4 team.
Well, it really is. First, I'd like to say congratulations to Marcus Ambrose, Tad, and Jody Gashector on their first win in a nationwide series. But yeah, I mean, I'm so excited about this group. I mean, they've worked so hard to get us to this point. Each week, like we talked earlier, we're making big gains, and it felt pretty good to be back up there tonight. I mean, these guys deserve to be up front. Dodge certainly deserves to be up front, and man, it was a lot of fun out there tonight.
Led a lot of laps. Stacy Compton comes home in 7th tonight at Nashville. Double A.
And the theme of his finish tonight, it feels good to be back up front. Same for this guy, Chad McCumbee, who was 10th this evening. It had been a while, and back in the top 10. How's it feel?
Good, man. Number 1 goal tonight was just to finish this thing and to get a top 10. You know, that's what we wanted. That was our goal. We struggled a little bit at qualifying there. We tried some different stuff and didn't quite work for us, and it took most of the race to get back to where we knew we should be. But, man, they made the right calls there at the end, and we were just as good as anybody. We came and got 4 tires. That put us a little bit behind, and for some reason I think the motor package we've got this year is just a ton tougher to pass here. You know, and it made it difficult in traffic. So we'll take that. We should have had 3 of these in a row, but, you know, that's how racing works, and good Lord was with us tonight, and we got one. So thanks to everybody back at the shop. Been working hard, and we'll go see if we can't keep improving here.
And you talk about keep improving. Bristol, the next race. Short tracks have been the stumbling point for you guys. How do you capitalize on the momentum in a couple of weeks?
Well, I think we've got a ton of short track momentum. The last couple of short tracks, we've made huge strides in making our program better. And, you know, we should have had a top 10, I felt like, in ORP, and had a good solid finish in Memphis building block there. So we're getting better. We're continuing to learn different things we need to work on, and I'm looking forward to it. I like Bristol, so we should have fun.
10th tonight for Chad McCumbee, guys.
Well, thank you, Adam and Ray, for everything given to us on pit road tonight. Now, obviously 45 points separating our top 2 in the point standings. Matt Crafton by no means out of this stretch, but only 10 races remain. Now, this momentum, does that catapult Johnny Benson right up there to his first championship in the Truck Series?
Well, I don't know. He's won 3 out of the last 4 races, so he's certainly headed that direction. But Ron Hornaday's strong week in, week out, too. Got another top 5 here.
Right.
Actually let his teammate get by him. That cost him 5 points towards the end of the race. But, you know, as Michael said, the difference between first and second right now, 45 points, that's first and fifth. You have a great run and finish 5th in this Truck Series here. So this thing not over by far.
Right. And what you like to see also is Matt Crafton just creeping right along
Still
there.
right in there.
91 points out. So it's far from over. We're going to have an exciting 10 races to the championship, but it's going to start in a couple of Wednesdays from now where Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch are going to show up and see if they can't do something about this little roll Johnny Benson's on.
And we talked about, obviously, Jimmy Johnson will be in that 81. And we said he doesn't want to finish, obviously, with the truck in the same condition it was, and he actually texted you and said it won't.
No, he
hopes it won't. Yeah, I hope it won't.
He hopes it don't. But no one's bold enough to predict what will happen at Bristol. Bristol has changed to maybe a little bit calmer, milder Bristol, which means when the drivers go there, they say, we can run 3 wide. We can run all over this place. So while the track might not be quite as tough as it once was, the action is over the top because of all the options drivers now have there. I can't wait to watch the trucks race at Bristol.
We saw history made today with Johnny Benson adding his name to the ones who have won 3 in a row. Well, a guy by the name of Ted Musgrave continues to impress at this very racetrack, finished with another top 10. That is 8 of the 8 that he started in the top 10, and he's with Ray.
Unbelievable finishes for Ted Musgrave at this track, and it didn't look good for a while, but you guys rebounded, and that's got to give you a little momentum here, Ted.
Yeah, it did. Team AC Toyota was pretty good. At the very end there, I kind of got mixed up with the 11 trucky loose and Jamie up into the 3rd group, but thought I was going to have a top 5 and come out of here with that, but the 8th will take that. And I think maybe what it was to trick my trucks here today, and Calvin and the boys are in the background there. Maybe they're my good hope. So if they come back to Bristol, maybe we'll run again.
All right. Finishes 8th in every race that he's run here at Nashville, guys.
Well, thank you again, Ray. Ted Musgrave, impressive. 3.4 was his finished position, or his average coming in. But it's all thrown out the window when you go to Bristol. I mean, everything gets thrown out the window at that racetrack.
You know, we talk about the action at Bristol. Well, the Cup cars like you, Michael, will run 500 laps. This is 200 laps. These guys don't have time to wait for anything.
No, there's not any time to see how it plays out. They get one pit stop to see if they can adjust their truck. And
it could be as early as like 30 or 40 laps.
Yeah, and they're going to be all over the place on their strategy, and that's what I love about these trucks. They have to mix it up. Coming up next, Rick, let's get us some popcorn. Let's put our feet up and enjoy the Knoxville Nationals.
Grab yourself a soda and get comfortable because the Knoxville Nationals are coming up. Again, $150,000 to the winner. A 30-lap shootout, the main event there at Knoxville Nationals. Again, that's coming up next. It was right here at Nashville Super Speedway where they really lit it up. It was Johnny Benson at the end who was able to dominate, get by Eric Darnell, and win his 3rd race in a row in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll see you in a week and a half